3. Determine the scope of the IAA. Determining the scope and objectives of the internal audit function requires careful thought and planning. Here is a more detailed look at this process. 1. Size and nature of your organization. The scope of the internal audit function often correlates with the size of the organization. A larger organization with more complex operations and wider geographic reach may require a more extensive internal audit function than a smaller, local business. Similarly, the nature of the organization's industry can influence the scope. A business in a heavily regulated industry like banking, healthcare, or energy, for instance, may require more focus on regulatory compliance and risk management. 2. Risk assessment. The scope should also be heavily influenced by the risks faced by the organization. This requires a comprehensive risk assessment to identify and prioritize potential risks. The risk assessment should consider both internal risks, such as those related to operational efficiency, financial reporting, and compliance, and external risks, such as those related to the market, technology, and regulation. High-risk areas should be a focus of the internal audit function. Complexity of operations. The complexity of an organization's operations also influences the scope of the internal audit function. A business with diverse operations or complex processes might need a more comprehensive audit function, while a business with simpler operations might require a less extensive function. Once you've determined the scope, you can then define the objectives of your internal audit function. Here are some common objectives and their implications. Ensuring compliance. This involves making sure the organization is complying with all applicable laws, regulations, and standards. This could range from financial regulations and tax laws to environmental regulations and labor laws. Reviewing financial and operational controls. This objective involves assessing the effectiveness of the organization's internal controls, both financial and operational. This might include evaluating processes for approving expenditures, safeguarding assets, managing records, and so on. Evaluating risk management practices. Here, the internal audit function assesses how well the organization identifies and manages risks. This could involve reviewing the organization's risk management framework, testing the effectiveness of risk mitigation strategies, and suggesting improvements. Assessing information technology security. This objective is increasingly important given the rise of cyber threats. It involves assessing the effectiveness of IT controls, including data security measures, IT governance practices, and disaster recovery plans. Remember, the objectives of your internal audit function should align with the organization's strategic goals. Your internal audit function isn't just about identifying problems, it's about helping the organization better achieve its mission.